Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
And here's your host, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Welcome into the latest edition of the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Jana's here with me.
Hello.
Surprisingly.
What? I can't take off already on the second episode.
I wouldn't be surprised. And this week you are supporting a Middle Eastern country or whatever that is, and their baseball aspirations.
Yes, I
baseball
actually
is real.
Is real. And when we get to the Dodgers segment, I will tell you why.
All right. Well, we will
get withdrawal is real.
That's right. We had an interesting opening weekend of baseball. Just some teams played 3 games, some teams played 4, but there was more that made it interesting than just what happened on the field. It's that there were some interesting matchups on opening day that we're not used to.
Yeah, I think one for me, I was surprised. It was a good matchup, I think, and maybe one for the Giants fans to get it out of the way, was the Giants and the Yankees. That just doesn't seem to be one that you see on opening day.
Cardinals and Blue Jays.
Right. Phillies, Rangers.
Right. But we're going to see more of that, and we'll dive deeper into that. We'll talk about maybe how some of the rules seem to feel, and I've got a little bit of something that kind of got under my skin recently that I want to share. Nothing bad, but just connected to people and how they're seeing the rules. So we'll do that and a whole lot more, and who knows? We'll hit around baseball. We'll see if the wheel is still functioning or if it's bogged down and not able to move, not able to spin anymore. But first, we're going to wander into the ravine here on episode 2 of the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Before we get talking about opening weekend in Major League Baseball, just a reminder, you can find us on social media, Sibling Rivalry BB without the A. We'll find us on Twitter.
And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
So let's just start. You can take it away here. What did you see that kind of stood out more than anything else for you opening day, opening weekend?
I didn't really see much of anything because I didn't get to watch my team's opening day game, but I will vent about that later. I don't know. I felt the excitement of baseball being back. I did watch a little bit of the White Sox Astros game, saw the Astros World Series champs uniforms. Those were pretty cool.
I like the hat.
The hat was really, was really nice.
I hated to say it, but I did like the hat.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just a lot going on and a lot of excitement. And I was like excited because I'm like, oh, the Dodgers play at night and I'll be able to watch them. But I didn't. So that's going to be a reoccurring theme throughout this episode for me.
I think it's been reoccurring for 3 prior seasons now.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Speaking of the Astros, though, they have always won their opening day games. Their last 10 opening days, they've won. This is the first time since 2012 that they lost. And they were in their new shiny uniforms, and the White Sox beat them. Of course,
getting their rings, raising the banner or whatever. I guess they didn't really raise it. It was already up like a sticker or something up on a wall.
Right in the juice box. Yeah, because Dylan Cease, he struck out 11 in 6 1/3 innings. So he was really the star of that game. But yeah, this is interesting because the Astros, like I said, they had won each of their last 10 opening days, and they are tied with the 1887-1896 Boston Bean Eaters for the longest opening day winning streak in baseball history.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And I think they need to bring that back. I know it's the Red Sox, but I really like the Bean Eaters.
Bean Eaters. Yeah. Somebody's probably going to be offended by that, though.
I know. As soon as I said it, I thought, somebody won't like it. But anyway.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and let us know what you think about that. Should we cancel Jana for her bean eater remark there? Yeah, it's funny, though, is there was still, and they weren't all connected to one guy, a lot of, this is the first time since 18 whatever. This is the first time since 1901. There were a lot of those.
Yeah,
with the opening.
Yes, and we've talked about that too. Like last year, we kind of made fun of it to a certain extent because it was since 1902. This is the first time that a player has played with his shoes untied, or and hit 3 home runs.
Most of them were all about Shohei.
Yes.
This year, not that. I mean, there was a couple, but not like last year.
Right. Yeah.
Tungsten armed old Doyle or whatever that. So yeah, there was a lot of things. The biggest thing that we alluded to in the opening was the different matchups that don't typically occur on opening day. Now, it was the first time since 1968 that all teams played at the same time. They all opened. I need to restate that. Not that they played at the same time, but they all played on opening day.
Right. Yeah, because before you would have some teams open on Thursday, some were on Friday.
Before that, though, you would even have one team play before they went to everybody, or starting mostly on Thursday. One team would play Sunday night.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Or 2 teams, obviously. There'd be one series there, and then the next one would start on Tuesday. And then and you'd go from there, maybe Monday, but that was how it started. Then they went to Thursday. It's been Thursday for a little while. But this is the first time since 1968 all the teams played on opening day. Now, having said that, only a few teams ended up doing 4-game series. Most of the others, like the Angels and the A series, played Thursday, off on Friday, picked it back up to finish the weekend. There were a few others that did that as well. And then because we're now on what they call the balance schedule, that's how we ended up having Giants and Yankees. When you really think about it, though, that was a rivalry back in the day when they were both in New York. Typically, we're used to like what started with the Dodgers and the Angels. The Angels went to the A's and played there. That's kind of seems like the regular thing. The Dodgers played the Diamondbacks. That's a pretty normal opening day. Diamondbacks, Rockies, Giants. That's normally what happens. Even a few others, Brewers, Cubs, Red Sox, Orioles, things like that. Those make sense. Braves, Nationals. But then, like we mentioned, the Yankees versus the Giants, the Phillies and Rangers, Blue Jays and Cardinals, which was a barn burner of a game. And we'll actually talk about somebody who's already being considered for the Rookie of the Year award when we get to Around Baseball that was part of that game. It's a few others work out where it was like, but we always expect to see teams within their division or another American League team or something like that makes sense. based on the past. But now, we're seeing some of these odd ones. And because this balanced schedule means that every team will play every other team. The teams within their division, the ones that used to be 19 games apiece, is now down to 13 games apiece, so that they can play. So depending, you're going to play one series. So if the Angels will play the Mets. I don't remember if they're playing in New York or if they're playing in Anaheim, but those are the things. You're going to see every single team. So whether they play at your place or they play away. So that's going to be it's one of the few changes that I'm pretty much okay with. I mean, honestly, if it was up to me, we could go back to the days when there was an American League. In fact, when I was a kid, like really young kid, there was American League and the National League, and whoever won from that, they played each other. That was it. And then when they split the leagues into two separate divisions, the East and the West, the playoffs was, the East versus the West in each league. Now it's become, a whole thing. I don't mind it, but, back then you just played everybody in the American League.
Yeah, I always thought that it was more exciting because when you get to the World Series, then there's two teams that hadn't seen each other. They didn't, they hadn't seen each other during the season. They didn't play each other. So it really did make it that championship game, the championship series. Whereas now everybody plays everybody. Doesn't mean that because maybe you show up you play in the playoffs that you're going to know the nuances. Obviously playoff baseball is a lot different than during the season, but I still think it takes just a little bit of the magic out of baseball for me.
So that one seems to be okay. Still not sure about the bases. I don't care about.
Yeah, the bases, not a big deal. You did see a little bit of an uptick in, runners on base. And maybe we'll see that more throughout this season, more stealing, things like that. I think that's what the purpose of that is. But we had the first pitch clock violation of the season, and that award goes to Marcus Stroman. He took his place in baseball's history books by taking too long to deliver a 1-2 pitch to the Brewers' Christian Yelich. And he was checking on Brewers rookie Bryce Turang, who was on second base. He was looking at him. Clock expired just before he delivered the pitch. So he was not happy about that. And then later, we had our first hitter. Red Sox third baseman Rafael Devers became the first hitter to be called out for a pitch clock violation. He stepped out of the batter's box and didn't get set in time when he stepped back in. And of course, we talked about this last week. You have to be, the clock has to hit 8 seconds and they've got to be in the box ready to go. And he was not.
Right. Not engaged with the pitcher.
Yeah.
Which I noticed for the most part, it's not that big of a deal. I thought it would be a little bigger of a deal. The players are generally, figuring out what kind of time they have if they need to step out and adjust the batting glove or something. But they're generally in by 10 seconds. Most of them I saw were back in there. The pitchers, sometimes they get down, to within a couple seconds and then they start their wind up. I never saw in any of the games I was able to check in on. I didn't see any clock violations. I almost said shot clock, but pitch clock violation.
Shot clock. Yeah. I think for the most part, obviously having the time during spring training to, kind of get used to it. And then it's going to become where they probably don't even, It's still going to be, I think, in the back of your mind. You still have to know what is on the clock, but I think you'll maybe they'll get into a habit, routine. It won't be that big of a deal. One thing we did learn on opening day, Aaron Judge is still good at baseball, and he, should hit 100 plus home runs this year.
Right. At one point he was on pace for 162, and he had 2 over the weekend to start off that first series. So he very well. Honestly, I would be fine with him hitting 75 home runs, because that makes him the single season record holder, and we can stop talking about Barry Bonds.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be awesome. So just keep hitting, Judge, the captain.
Captain, my captain.
That's right. Keep hitting them. And speaking of home runs, there were quite a few home runs over the weekend, but did you know that there were 24 starting pitchers that struck out at least 7 batters over opening day weekend? Garrett Cole had 11. Logan Webb of the Giants had 12. So,
wow.
That's
and
interesting.
They still lost that game.
They still lost the game, but also I think maybe that was something with the pitch clock. Was that going to be, how was that going to come into play? Were the pitchers going to make a mistake, but were the batters going to make a mistake? So, yeah, it worked out for the guys on the mound. And another one that really was interesting to me, because these are the guys that were in the World Series. I was rooting for them to win the World Series, and they went to the grill and lost every game.
Yeah, they did. And they actually started out pretty good, except for the fact that, what was it, an 11-run inning by the Rangers?
Yeah, it doesn't help. But yeah, they lost that game 11-7, and then got shellacked 16-3. So not the Phillies that I was expecting, and I'm sure not the Phillies their fans were expecting. And I gotta say, part of me was like, ha 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 ha, because Trey Turner's on that team now. And
you're wondering, is he thinking, what have I gotten myself into?
Maybe. I know that's kind of mean. I don't know. Oh, and how about the new Mets pitcher, Kodai Senga, with the ghost pitch?
The ghost fork.
Yeah, that is. I mean, on his glove, he has a ghost and a pitchfork. And once he got settled down, he looked really good. But yeah, those pitches, I was like, ooh, the ghost pitch. This is exciting.
There was
something
a lot
different.
Yeah, it's something to be excited about.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk about that, like the money that they spent for him was like on somebody that pitched in Japan. So we don't really know that much about him. This is a different group of hitters. It's like, okay, well, that may be true, but until he actually gets out there. So the question is, will people figure that out? That ghost pitch. But in the meantime, it was fun. I was watching, I think I was watching Quick Pitch or one of them, and they were going through the highlights, and they went in and showed the little ghost with the pitchfork around it. And then that's what, every time he struck somebody out, that's what they put up on the screen. Another one of those instead of the X's, the K's.
The K's. Oh, yeah. Right.
So that was kind of fun. And, that's good for the Mets, because when they fall short on their way to the World Series and they don't make the playoffs or they get eliminated in the first round, they'll at least have had fun with Kodai Senga.
Right. And they needed something new, because before last season they had the trumpet. This season they have the ghost and the pitchfork. So they need that gimmicky, some kind of gimmick to go along.
And then the other rule change that took place was the shift ban. And I did see, players playing as close to second base. And in fact, on MLB Network, they had, a couple of the guys. Harold was one of them, Harold Reynolds, and Carlos, what's his name? They were there and they were talking about it, and about where they're supposed to be. And they were looking at, there was a player, and the way it looked like he could have been over the bag. And so thus out, but nobody challenged it. And it is a challengeable play. It was the Tigers series, because they said AJ Hinch didn't challenge it. So he figured he must have been okay. But no shift. Ask Joey Gallo, who had a good opening weekend, what happens when the part that you can shift meant that there was nobody in left field. He was moved over to right, so he could be on the grass and be in that center spot, that that plug, spot between first and second, just pay him back as long as he didn't get on the dirt. And so that shut him down there, but he ended up having a good opening weekend. But that was, it seemed like it wasn't that big of a deal. The players were able to get where they needed to be, and they were shading in the right places. So I don't know that it had as big of an impact as what everybody thought. Oh, there was a couple I saw where it was like, oh, that's that would have been, that wouldn't have been a hit last season. And you'll see a few of those, but I didn't see enough of those. And maybe it's because the players haven't figured out how to use that now to their advantage, because they're used to trying to lift the ball and hit home runs or there's nothing wrong with a home run. There's nothing wrong with a line drive into the alley. That's an awesome play. But that was one thing where I didn't really see that there was any difference in anything. I think the pitch clock was the thing that was the bigger deal. And I just, that's kind of what got me was with the pitch clock as far as the rule changes go.
I did see one rule that apparently wasn't a rule. The ump just made it up. And that was in the game, the Mets versus the Marlins. Jeff McNeil is up to bat. Pete Alonso is on base. And Jeff McNeil hits a foul ball. Pete Alonso, runs to second. Of course, has to turn around, go back. The umpire calls a strike on Jeff McNeil because he said Pete Alonso took too long to get to first base. So,
yeah, I never heard that being part of any of the rules. The
no.
Runner has, 5 seconds or whatever.
Right. I didn't hear that. And so this is Larry Vanover is the umpire's name. And yeah, he charged a strike to Jeff McNeil. And the thing is Buck Showalter, he is like a walking rule book and knows these things. And so he comes out there. Everyone's confused. Like, what is going on? And it took longer for the umpire to explain his decision, taking up the game, which they don't want to do. And still doesn't make sense. But in the aftermath of that, Major League Baseball did apologize to the New York Mets. And but the weird thing is that the umpire said that he shouldn't have charged McNeil with a strike in accordance with the new rules aimed at speeding up the pace of the play. But he also said that the reason he told Pete Alonso that he wasn't the reason that Jeff McNeil received a strike. But Jeff McNeil was in the box. So I don't know. It was very confusing. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there. but
Sounds like he's trying to explain his way around it
yes.
because he doesn't really want to admit that he just made that up right there on the spot.
Yeah, it was like, what can I do?
It's like when you go and you go, look, I'm sorry, but
yeah, exactly. I'm really sorry that happened, but it was
had
your
you been
fault.
paying attention
Right.
to, or whatever. Right.
Exactly.
All right.
Weird stuff like that, but
Craziness is what happened with those things. And eventually it'll work itself out. People figure it out and they adjust. They're pretty good. The players they'll know, the coaches will know, the front office who really manages the teams will know.
they'll know.
But here's what has gotten me is a lot of people I know, I expect it from MLB Network guys, anchors, and hosts. Even the radio guys, maybe, would listen to the game, or TV announcers, they may be fine with it. The players, some of them will say what they really think, some won't. I get it with some of those because this is their bread and butter. And so, that I get. But I've seen on Twitter and Facebook, people that I know, people that I've discussed baseball with, who have the same background with baseball that I have, who have said, I'm kind of liking these new rules. And to me, it's like, I'm like, you don't get it. If the game got changed because of analytics, really, and not taking chances and everything having to be set just so, it's like you're setting up for a party at your house or some kind of an event. Everything has to be just so.
Well, and also this is why Planet Head is always saying, you hear this from other people too, but that the game is scripted.
Well, it is in the sense that the front office and all of the analytics staff, which outnumber any athletic staff, you got people in there with PhDs in computer science that are in baseball all of a sudden because they can work the computers, they can write new algorithms, they can whatever it takes. But here's the deal. We had to put rules, or MLB had to put rules in place to combat taking the joy out of the game that analytics did. And to me, the one thing that, and I think these people are missing is like, I watch, if I'm watching something for entertainment purposes, why would I want to put a time limit on it? It's like going to a movie, it's going to end in a certain amount of time. And some movies, you wish it had ended earlier. And in some movies, you're like, oh, that's all? I'd like that. Or a TV series was so good, and then they ended at the last season. Then you're like, but baseball is a game of beauty. It's like art. It develops out. What did I say last time? You're stopping the bomb from being. And there's just so much that can happen. And obviously the analytics part is risk averse. So we're not going to take any chances that we're going to lose. We only do things so that we can win the game. And hope that the other team doesn't do it better than we do, I guess. But for the most part, it's go there to see the things that are happening, to watch. One of my favorite things used to be watching games when I was a kid or even a young adult and watching the players set themselves. Not because they had a card with a number on it that told them what dot to stand up. It really does become a scripted event, because what's the thing? We see it, you missed your mark. You need to step here in this play, this movie, this TV show. That's your mark. And you missed it. Well, that's what happens there. These guys miss the mark and they don't make the play, but it takes some of the athleticism out of it. And it's just, to me, it's like no more. Now I might as well be watching, people putting together a machine on TV, here, and this piece goes here. And here's, what? That's my next. I'm going to see if I can do this. We need to do this. We need to start like the IKEA Furniture Construction Channel for people who like to watch the process of things. And it doesn't matter if they sat there because they didn't grab the Allen wrench out of the stuff or it didn't come with one. So they got to look for one that works and it takes all that time out. No. Or they sit there and stare at it for a while because they're confused by the instructions and no action. That's what those people need. And I think if people had been given the chance from the beginning to appreciate the beauty of baseball, they would, and somebody explained to them that it's not about, it's, George Carlin said something about differences in sports. He goes, in football, you're on the gridiron, but in baseball, you're at the park. Well, if you go to the park, do you just go there because I'm gonna sit on this bench for 2 hours, no more, and then right at your 2 hour point, that's when something cool starts happening in the park or whatever, or you just enjoying yourself, but you can't go over the 2 hours because there's a 2 hour time limit or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is we did see viewership go up a little bit, not like crazy amount for opening day weekend, but I think part of that was people were wanting to watch, because the pitch clock they want to see. But is that going to continue? Because we're going to watch baseball regardless. It doesn't matter. But I just can't imagine anybody being okay with any of the rules. I mean, other than we just throw out the bigger bases, who cares? But the pitch clock, all of that stuff, it just adds into the analytics and it just takes away from the moments that happen in games when you just play the game and you don't think about the matchups or, let me get my card out of my hat to see, I need to go 2 steps to the right or 2 steps to the left, or I need to go forward or back. As a player, you should already know that. You should already have an idea.
Right. And if the coaches, and that's the other thing, the coaches are being taken out of this equation almost completely. And so, but I remember playing, and like if the coach thought, hey, I've noticed this, if you didn't remember, and when you're kids, you don't always remember, this kid always seems to hit to this side, or hey, he's a lefty, automatically you kind of shift over a little bit, whether it be a step or two, you can play it that way. That it shouldn't be somebody like it just being, like I said, so choreographed. Baseball's always been a statistical game. Big baseball fans know the numbers, but it doesn't matter to most people what the spin rate on the ball is. It may matter to the pitcher, it may matter to the coach, but and I get for the history of baseball, people have tried to do things that will give them an advantage. But there's so much of it that came just organically that now we're getting away from. We're taking all this extra information and then we're like, putting it in a big truck and then dumping it on people. And then when it doesn't come through, or you like, we've talked about before, if the manager isn't somebody that's just a puppet and goes with everything and just says, okay, then they're out. And that's my thing. Stop trying to change something that was already as perfect as it could be. Analytics tried to make it perfect, that every time a ball is hit, we're in the right place to get it. And then the other side's trying to say, well, and the pitcher's going to pitch just the exact pitch that's going to keep the hitter. So all we wanted to do is eliminate any offense. Yet, that's the biggest action piece in all of it. So anyway, I'm off my soapbox, but it just got me that people I knew or that I thought loved baseball to the extent that I do are like, okay, we have a little saying here where it's like, we got to run out for like an errand, just run to the store, or we're going to go out and get some food or something like that. It's let's go so we can come back. Well, why do I need to go at all? If my whole goal is to get there to get it over with. When I go to work, I want to get it over with. That's fine. But if I go out and do something fun, I go to a concert and they stop playing, there's no encore, or they only played 3 of their 50 hits, something like that. Then I'm like, why? What was the point? But, and even if it is that way, if I'm enjoying it, I don't want it to end. I want another encore. I want them to play another hour or whatever. I'm happy to stand there and enjoy it. Because otherwise, then I can just sit at home and listen to their music, stream it, pull out a CD, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I always think back to I never leave the game early. I've never left a game early. I've had people try to persuade me, let's go ahead and leave. They're losing. But the thing is, yeah, maybe the team you're rooting for is losing, but something always could happen, right? And then if I leave, I miss that. I could miss that. And
Right.
I've been at games where the team was losing 9-0, came back to beat the team 10-9.
Right.
But if I had left, I would have had to read about it, or watch it, watch the highlights. But instead I stayed.
Right.
And I was one of the few, that stayed. But it's that eternal hope, I think, that true baseball fans have, that there's always something can happen. The next pitch, the next hit could change the game.
And even if you don't, it's not over yet.
Right.
I think what has happened is that we're in, short attention spans and binge watching, those kind of things.
Yes.
So people could sit and watch 3 to 4 hours worth of a show, but they're not willing to do that. And to me, it's like, hey, this is a chance to kind of slow down, have some free time watching these guys do that, have a hot dog, whatever you like, hot dog, beer, soda, popcorn, nachos, any of those things that you like, peanuts,
Cracker Jacks.
Exactly. But people don't see it that way. Everybody sees everything as, let's get it over with. I'm going to watch my team play. I want them to win, but I only want them to win in 2 hours and 41 minutes, 2 hours and 33 minutes, or even better, 2 hours and 8 minutes, whatever. That's just, anyway.
Well, I think there's a good point to that, because think about when the Dodger game with what it went like 18 innings in the postseason, right?
Right.
And you and I were texting. I was still up, but I was like, I think I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. And you're like, I don't know if I would, but we were texting back and forth. We both made it to the end of that game. But it was like, we about to fall asleep. Oh, no, I can't. You will yourself, because that something's going to happen, even if it happens in the 18th, 19th, 20th inning. I mean, those are kind of anomaly things, but still, it's that excitement. And I think we get away from that, because everything is scheduled. We got to be here at this time. We got to do this. We got to do that. Instead of just saying, hey, let's go to the ballpark. Let's just have a nice evening. Have a good afternoon, whatever it may be. That's perfect.
I'm focused on the game. If somebody else is there, we may chat, but normally it's about the game.
Right.
And if we're chatting about non-game stuff, it's probably in between innings. But just sitting there and chilling out. I look around the park. There's not many of us who are paying complete attention to the game. People are paying here and there, but if they came with a group, sometimes they're all about each other being at the game. They don't know what's going on. or don't care what's going on. So what difference does it make whether it was a 2-hour game or a 3.5-hour game? You're not paying attention to the game anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
What a
So it's
sad
time
state of
for,
affairs.
it is. So let's, speaking of sad state of affairs, let's shuffle to the Chavez Ravine to see what happened on opening weekend with the Dodgers.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
I'll tell you what happened. I was all excited for opening day. Still was excited. I was able to peek in on some games, but I was excited. I was like, Dodgers play tonight, Thursday night, it's going to be awesome. And then I realized blackout, even though they're playing the Diamondbacks in Los Angeles, which is a 12-hour, 13-hour drive. I still
and you don't get Phoenix TV.
Do not get Phoenix TV because I'm 6 hours away from Phoenix. Could not watch opening day game for the first time in years. I think this is the first time, forever, that I couldn't watch it. And not only that, then it dawned on me, I'm not going to be able to watch I could go back and watch it 90 minutes after, but really, because I follow the game throughout, right? I can listen to it on the radio. I can do that stuff, but I can't watch. So Arizona, first 4 games, they played Colorado, and guess what? They're playing Arizona again, so I won't be able to watch them until April 10th when they play the Giants.
Wow.
So that is why I'm wearing baseball withdrawal. Israel.
I don't know what that has to do with the Dodgers or who they're playing. That's a whole different country. I think.
Oh.
I think you need to reset and figure out the true meaning.
It just drives me crazy. I was like, really? MLB totally, messed it up. Now, I will say I'm thankful I don't live in Iowa where they couldn't watch any baseball.
I don't think they can watch the Dodgers or the Diamondbacks there either.
No, I think they're pretty much blacked out from every team.
From all games. Iowa is a no baseball zone except for the Field of Dreams game.
That's it.
That's all. That's all you
And
get to
I
play.
think that they are blacked out from watching that. They have to actually go there and try to get tickets.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Crazy. Julio Urias is on the mound for the Dodgers, starting it off. Looks good. 6 innings, 6 strikeouts. Gave up 4 hits and 2 runs. Dodgers win that game 8-2. James Outman. And I gotta say, I hope this doesn't continue throughout the season, but it is. When he hits a home run, it's like, because he hit a home run, that was out, man. Like, really? Come on.
It's gonna be there until somebody tells whomever wants to go with that. That's annoying, Joe. Or what's his name?
I think it was that
Steven
Steven
Nelson.
guy. I think it was him.
Well, you know what I noticed? It threw me off the other day is that I hadn't seen intentional talk on MLB in a while, and what's his name? Kevin Pillar's still on there, but there's 2 other people on there that are new. There's now a third host, a female host, and then I didn't catch who the guy was that's on there that took Steven Nelson's place. But yeah, he's going to do that. Steven Nelson's annoying enough. He's going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
But honestly, from the other side of it, the more he says it, the more it means that he may very well be Outman, may very well be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. I mean, he
Good.
continues to play. He was 2 for 3 in that first game. Dustin May pitching longest out in his first outing of the season, pitched the longest outing of his career, 7 innings, 4 strikeouts, no earned runs. Did give up 3 hits. The thing about that though is he looked really good, and I think that was a theme. Starting rotation looked good. You had Julio, Dustin, Clayton Kershaw, of course, and then Noah Syndergaard. Really good, I think, starting pitching overall. 2 of the games, Dustin May's game, the bullpen came in. Alex Vesia blows the save, and the Dodgers lose 2-1. And then in Sunday's game, Noah Syndergaard is on the mound, 6 innings, gives up 4 hits, does have and one gives up a run, but has 6 strikeouts. But this time, it's Brusdar Graterol who gives up the game, and the Dodgers lose 2-1. They split the series with Arizona, but not before a historic night from Trace Thompson. 8 RBIs, 1 game. He was at that point the MLB leader of RBIs, and he may still be. I haven't checked the stats, but
right,
crazy.
Yeah, he that was an awesome night, and what was it, exit velocity or something on all of his home runs where it was exactly the same?
107.5, exactly the same. And he'd always struggled against lefties, and he hits a grand slam first inning against Madison Bumgarner, who we will talk about in the Will of IL. And I don't know if it had something to do with having a grand slam hit off of him in the first inning, but JD Martinez had his first home run in that game. Dodgers win 10-1 thanks to Trace Thompson. Dave Roberts has a new rule: if you hit 3 home runs in a game, the next day you're in the starting lineup.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible watching that. Yeah, the 3 home runs. He leads the Dodgers right now in home runs, just 1 in front of Will Smith, who'd had 2 home runs over the weekend. Right now, if you look at batting averages, Freddie leads the team with a 421 average. Will right behind him at 400. And then the other rookie sensation, Miguel Vargas, who's walked like 5 or 6 times over the weekend. He's batting .375. That Saturday night, Vargas on base numerous times. They had a 7-run inning in that game that really put, because it was 4-4. It was kind of back and forth, and then they just took it from there. Yeah, .375 for Miguel Vargas, and then shut out the A's on